How did China end up becoming the #1 trade adversary of the world superpower, the United States? The US runs trade deficits with many countries, but the biggest deficit is with China. How did China manage to get to this point? Especially considering that, as far back as I can remember, Made in China was basically branding for products of average quality, sometimes even worse than that. So how did China pull this off? Especially when just last year, China was hit by a real estate crisis. It was a huge crisis, and the government didn't help. The stock market has been dropping for 3 years, so how did China manage this? How did a kid from the back of the class move to the middle, then suddenly become the ringleader, uniting superpowers in their dislike during this trade war? Curious, aren't you? Want to know? If you want to find out, stick with me. I'll tell you all about it in this video. Thank you so much to everyone for following the Sai Money Monster channel. Thank you for all your support, every single view, and every single comment. It really means a lot to an ordinary woman like me who just loves reading, doing research, and honestly isn't that great at talking to people. But I've come to realize, wow, there really are people out there who want to hear about the things I research. That makes me so happy. If anyone wants to support or encourage the Money Monster channel, you can show your support through this QR code, or even just by liking, sharing, or subscribing. That's already a huge encouragement. Thank you so much. Now let's get right to it. Let's jump into the main point. What are the key takeaway messages that have made China the #1 in global trade today? I've summarized these takeaways from this person, Raleigh Green. He's the chief China economist and head of Asia Research Global Data at Teslamidate. He summarized China's case study like this. Why has China managed to rise so high? The first thing China did was to have a clear goal. Second, you have to choose the right goal, meaning you pick the right sector, the right direction, something you're skilled at, capable of, and that matches the resources you have. Third, it has to be sustainable, meaning it needs to be able to last. This involves using clean energy so that the industry can thrive while also ensuring the planet can survive. Fourth, it has to be big. You need to make it large enough to achieve economies of scale, which means you can lower costs enough to compete with rivals. Fifth, it has to be long-lasting. You need to be able to do it for a long time and consistently enough to develop a competitive advantage. Or in other words, a competitive advantage. So you can go head-to-head with the global market. And if you want to become #1, you have to do it consistently and for a long enough period. Sixth, it needs to last without political interference. No politics getting in the way or shutting the project down. And seventh, the last point, is that there must be enough financial support, and it has to be steady. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about our country, I'm talking about China. Let's get back to China's economy. If you've been following financial and economic news, you'll know that last year, China faced a real estate crisis, right? Evergrande, Country Garden, these companies were worth hundreds of billions of US dollars, but the Chinese government didn't bail them out at all. In fact, they even pushed anyone who caused problems for the country straight into jail. So the question is, has China's economy recovered today? Has it recovered from the collapse of the real estate sector? Let me answer that for you. No, it hasn't. That's because domestic consumption in China still hasn't bounced back. Other countries, when they get hit hard like this, usually end up in a daze and just collapse. But why hasn't China gone under? Not only has China not collapsed, but it's also come up with new tricks, new knockout punches to strike back at the world, leaving everyone stunned. So what does this mean? China has never planned to rely on just one source of income. Even though real estate used to be a major growth engine for China, accounting for 25% of its GDP, China never trusted putting all its eggs in the real estate basket. They have backup plans. This is the key point. China has always had backup plans. That is, developing high-tech industries, which includes EVs and batteries. Both of these have been part of China's national industrial policy for a long time. How long? Let me tell you. Since 1992. Qian Shuisen, a Chinese scientist known as the father of China's nuclear bomb and satellite rockets, brought this idea to the government, suggesting that China should develop electric vehicles. Since 1992, right? The reason it had to be electric vehicles, Chi and Jessen explained it like this. The world's major powers, whether it's the US, Germany, or Japan, became prosperous and economically powerful because of the automotive industry. Cars are the most expensive consumer goods after houses, and many people need to have one. If China wanted to compete in the automotive industry, trying to go head-to-head with combustion engine cars with gasoline vehicles, it just wouldn't work. China could only beat these three superpowers if we competed with electric vehicles, or EVs. And just a few years after that, Mr. Song Zhen, the Minister of Science and Technology, and Mr. Wang Geng, the Vice Chairman of the Communist Party, started pioneering the development of electric cars. After the two of them went to Germany to study and do research, they came back to their own country and said that we have to start producing electric vehicles and batteries now, because the two of them saw that EVs were the shortcut that would allow China to rise up in the world. And once the EV policy was introduced, the National Industrial Policy was immediately put in place to support it. Now, let's take a look at how this miracle happened, starting from this belief. The success behind the EV industry rising to #1 in the world happened because of the continuous support and push from the Chinese government. This included plans for cheap land, low-interest loans, funding for research and development, and this support was consistent and ongoing for over 10 years. Did you know that BYD, before it became the world's #1 EV company, wasn't a big company at all? But the support they received was that they got a government concession to produce electric buses and electric taxis, with tens of thousands of them running. The first batch of vehicles they produced, though, is now parked in a sort of graveyard. They were developed but didn't turn out well. And you know what? It was actually fine to scrap that entire batch, because they learned and developed from it until they became BYD, Build Your Dreams, the world's #1. In 2017, XPeng, another Chinese company, XPeng, received support in the form of a low-interest loan of $200 million from the government to develop and build factories. The local government also helped XPeng by purchasing land and providing additional low-interest loans for research and development, as well as building EV manufacturing plants. Now, XPeng isn't just producing regular EVs anymore. They've just launched this new model right here. They've now created an electric flying car, and it's about to go on sale in China at a price of 1 million won per vehicle. Next, there's ATL, a giant battery manufacturing company, not just the biggest in China, but the largest in the world. This was all part of the government's plan. They designated a city in Sichuan with a population of about 2.8 million people to focus entirely on battery production. The whole city is dedicated to manufacturing batteries to serve as a supply hub. To supply CATL, which is located in the neighboring province. The local government also helps select private companies or any businesses related to battery production to gather in this city and work together on manufacturing. As a result, today they can produce batteries at the lowest cost in the world. No one else can compete, and they also produce the highest volume globally, essentially dominating the market. The second largest battery producer is BYD, which is also a Chinese company. To be able to produce batteries, you also need another crucial raw material, lithium. China controls more than half of the global lithium market. It's not just because China happens to have a lot of rare minerals. It's not like they just got lucky with good feng shui or rituals and ended up with rare minerals under their land. As I mentioned, the government has to choose the right sector, one that matches the resources they have. This is one of those cases. China has a large amount of rare minerals that are well suited for battery production. But that's not all. The Chinese government has been planning this for a long time. Besides the minerals they can produce domestically, China has also invested in buying mines that produce key minerals for battery production all over the world. You can see here, right? China has bought up mines in many places. One of the most important locations is Africa. China has invested so much in Africa that there's even a slogan now, Made in Africa with China for the world. This means that a large portion of China's lithium actually comes from Africa. Now, moving on to the technology part, let me break down the inside of a Chinese battery for you, so you can see how they're able to make such affordable batteries. Let's start by looking at a Chinese battery. The type of battery China produces is called a lithium-ion battery. Inside the battery, there are 4 main components: the anode, the cathode, the electrolyte, and the separator. The anode is made up of graphite. There's also lithium in the anode. As for the cathode, it is primarily composed of 3 minerals: manganese, nickel, and cobalt. Chinese technology is able to successfully eliminate 2 of the most expensive minerals from this group, which are nickel and cobalt, and substitute them entirely with lithium iron phosphate, or LFP. And as I mentioned in the previous clip, the price of lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, has dropped from 600,000 yuan to just 100,000 yuan, a huge decrease. That's why the price of Chinese batteries has become even cheaper. For the full details, check out this clip. Kun Prayud will tag it for you. The intense heat of Chinese batteries and EVs is making waves around the world because it's causing people to lose their jobs. In February 2022, Ford laid off a total of 4,000 employees in Europe. In June 2023, Autoliv, a Swiss car manufacturer, let go of 8,000 employees. Also in June 2023, Stellantis shut down its factory in Austria, which had been operating for 40 years, affecting 300 jobs. In October 2023, Volkswagen laid off 2,000 employees. In November 2023, Michelin, the French automotive manufacturer, closed a total of 3 factories in Germany, which will be completed by 2025, affecting 1,500 employees. And now, in Thailand, Japanese car manufacturers like Honda and several others are announcing closures one after another. So it's really no surprise why. The United States felt it had no choice but to officially declare a massive trade war to protect its interests. But what are the actual reasons why both America and Europe really seem to dislike China's current economic approach and global influence so much?
The world is watching this, and this is one of the main reasons. The president is determined to make a change, to commit to this, and to find a way to provide for the future.
You are seeing changes in global supply chains, and this is one of the key factors at play. China's aggressive move to take over the car market share is like stabbing right at the heart of Europe, because the automotive industry is truly the heart of Europe. The value of car sales in Europe is 7 times higher than Europe's GDP. Employment in the automotive industry accounts for as many as 13 million jobs, which is equal to 6% of all employment in the EU. This is a significant number. This has been the foundation of building Europe's economy throughout its history. And of course, the fact that BYD is selling more cars than BMW is a real problem. Just this past April, both Olaf Scholz, the German leader, and Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, each made separate trips to visit Xi Jinping, the president of China. But they both talked about the same issue, overcapacity, or the problem of excessive production capacity. With President Xi Jinping, however, President Xi responded by stating that overcapacity, or the excessive production by China, simply does not exist at all. Furthermore, Li Qiang, who serves as the Chinese premier, also commented on China's overcapacity issue, saying that the problem is not actually caused by China's excessive production levels. Instead, he argued that the real issue is it's actually excessive worry that's the real problem. Listen to this. The issue now isn't overcapacity, but over-anxiety. Professor Wang Yunwei, director of the Institute of International Affairs at Renmin University of China, shared his thoughts on why Europe doesn't like China. He said he understands why Europeans might not be fond of China, because Europeans have their own unique characteristics. For example, the French are known for their romantic nature. right? Italians are known for their artistic flair, but suddenly these nations that have always enjoyed a luxurious, laid-back lifestyle are now faced with China, a nation of fighters who can produce goods that are both cheap and high-tech. These products are putting pressure on Europeans, making it impossible for them to keep living their luxury, carefree lives, just sipping wine and taking it easy. They simply can't compete anymore, and it's forcing them to change their lifestyles, and that's something they just can't accept. As for the United States, the reason they don't like China is because Americans have this attitude of seeing China as just an average country. They can't accept the idea of China becoming high-end. They don't believe that China's education system could ever be better than that of the West. They don't believe that China's trade and economic systems could surpass those of Western countries. And they absolutely don't believe that Chinese people could ever be smarter than they are, and that's exactly what they can't accept. Can't accept it. China's rise to become a global leader in the EV and battery markets, this isn't China's first shockwave. This is actually the second shockwave. The first shockwave from China also shook many countries, though not as much as this one. That was when China became the world's factory, able to manufacture everything from bottles, cups, buckets, and pots, all the way up to ships. China managed to dominate the world's industrial market share. It reached up to 30%, but there was still this lingering perception that products made in China were just mid-range or lower quality goods compared to those from Europe, Germany, America, or Japan. But if you were Chinese, you'd probably wonder, who would want to be a country that only produces lower quality products forever? Let's go back a bit. The day China was able to turn the page and transform the global industrial landscape was December 10, 2011. That's because it was the day China joined the World Trade Organization, or WTO. Joining the WTO meant that China could lower import tariffs and reduce the cost of selling goods to other member countries. As a result, China was able to sell its mass-produced goods at even lower prices, a lot cheaper in fact. And China's #1 customer was the United States. In the US, even before China joined the WTO, around 1950, about 30% of American workers were employed in manufacturing. But over the next 50 years, that number was cut in half. By 2000, only 15% of Americans were still working in manufacturing. But after China joined the WTO, by 2010, the percentage of Americans working in manufacturing had dropped to just 9%. At first, it took 50 years for that number to be cut in half. But after China joined the WTO, it took less than 10 years for the number of Americans employed in manufacturing to fall to just 9%. But is it really just because of China? Of course, it's not only China, right? Technology and AI have also played a major role in causing job losses. From 2000 to 2024, jobs in the U.S. manufacturing sector were heavily impacted by China, resulting in as many as 5.7 million Americans losing their jobs. On top of that, the U.S. has the largest trade deficit with China in the world, with a negative balance of up to $430 billion. Of course they're angry. It's no surprise they'd want to strike back. But right now, China isn't just dominating the EV industry, they're also leading the solar panel industry. In 2022, China controlled 80% of the global solar energy market. And under the shadow of China's booming solar industry, both small and large companies in the American and European solar energy sectors are feeling the impact. Hundreds of companies have declared bankruptcy. On top of that, China also holds the title of the world's #1 steel exporter, exporting as much as 12 million kilograms a year. But after looking into all this, I still wonder, does this mean China is now the enemy of all the world's superpowers? Is it that nobody likes China right now? Is it because China is ruthless? Or is it because they just never back down?